Good morning everybody, welcome back to cilinixfxcapital and welcome to this new video and update on Solana. We're going to do a full update on Solana right here in the short term, so you're optimally prepared for today. We have some major news coming out today, so we'll talk about that, the weekend, but also going into next week. So let's get right into it. We'll talk about some fundamentals here at the start, but there's no real relevant fundamentals I think we need to talk about regarding Solana specifically. There's not a lot of, when we're talking about the network statistics, right? So what's happening on Solana, DEX trading volumes, TVL, etc. There's not much I think we need to talk about. I think the Humidify launch is quite interesting, and I might make a video on that this weekend, so keep an eye out for that. That's an interesting Solana-based project. I think it's at least launching through the Jupiter token sale platform, so it should be Solana-based. So that's quite interesting, but when we're talking about the stats, like I said, there's not much. When we're talking about the Solana ETF, we had inflows, which is good, but there were inflows of about $4.6 million. That's not going to pay the bills, right? It's not going to pay the bills, so it's also not relevant. And then we're seeing a bit of a pullback earlier today. I would argue Solana is holding on relatively well, especially given the fact that we are just, very much within the same structure as we have been. Which was also the expectation, the last video that we made, which was back on Wednesday, I think. Like the structure for Solana right here, it's pretty clear. The main questions are just, okay, can we actually hold this structure? So can we not crash down lower? Which ultimately, I think crashing down lower is unexpected, or it's not to be expected. We still have negative funding rates, which means that we are forming a bottom, but that is a good sign. And then I think when we're talking about Bitcoin, which obviously, Solana is still very correlated to Bitcoin. Solana is not stronger than Bitcoin, it's still correlated. And when we look at Bitcoin, we have a lot of signs right now in terms of the structure, but also order book depth, that it is most likely that Bitcoin is going to form a local bottom, which obviously has positive effects for Solana as well. So that is all true, but then we're forming a bottom right here. I think it's unlikely we will crash down lower. Our main support level is right here at 126, 128. But do I expect a bullish breakout? No, also not necessarily. And especially on a day like today, obviously Tuesday we had a pretty good day in the markets, right? And for Solana as well, you can see Tuesday we rallied up much higher. And we got some good continuation afterwards as well. That's generally a good sign also of holding this stability that we have formed between 144 and 126. So pretty good news. But ultimately then you can see that we found such strong resistance here at 144. You get a fake out right here, indecisive candle, reclaim below that, then a high volume drop yesterday afternoon, and that seems very much like just a top of the range resistance touch before heading down to the bottom of the resistance. And then that beautiful day on Tuesday when we had so much bullish momentum, we also left a ton of imbalances to the downside. And then kind of as a cherry on top of the cake, today we have news coming out. We have the PCE price index data, which is basically inflation rate data, which makes volatility even more likely. So, holding this range I do think is most likely. But when we're talking about the short term right here for Solana, I would say it's most likely that we are going to push down into those areas, right? So push down into 133, potentially push down into 128 if we get bad news. If we get good news, I think we have a chance. I think we're going to move into 142, 144 in general. I do think we will stay in the range with good news, but that would accelerate the path to a bullish breakout, right? Because what I've said in the last couple of videos as well is that I do think this is a local bottom. So if we delete that ugly drawing, like short term, I think a pullback is more likely, and I think it's more likely we'll stay within the range. But I do expect us to eventually break out of 144. Get up to 152, 156, potentially even get up into the 160s. So that is what I do expect, but generally what we would need for that, unfortunately, is most likely Bitcoin finding support and going for higher highs on the lower time frames, given the fact that there's not a lot of specific strength for Solana. So it's waiting for that. Until that time, I would have a slightly bearish to neutral bias right here. And that's what I would expect. Relevant levels are 144, key resistance. Relevant support levels are 133 and then 128.5. Keep an eye on those targets if you're interested in potentially buying Solana here. I'm not, to be fair. I've bought other stuff, but not Solana. And those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know. So thank you for watching, everybody. Take care and bye.